You want to start with Devon Levi, though?
Sure. Yeah.
The Amerks are through. They swept the Crunch.
Yep.
Levi had back-to-back shutouts.
Yep.
And we talked about Levi with Paul earlier this week. He's, can I say, amazing?
Yes, you can.
In the AHL, he is amazing.
Yes.
And there was an article this week, Lance, from the Buffalo News, Lance Lysowski, writing that Lukin and Levi, the most likely pairing for the Sabres going forward. And here he is, just dominating the AHL again. And I want to put all my eggs in his basket. That this profile reads like a guy that, in the right amount of time, should be here and should be good. He's dominant on the AHL level. Is that too far?
No, I don't think so. I think you could say he's been dominant on every level so far that is in the NHL.
Sure. And now that he's at the AHL, whether it's amazing or dominant or above par, what am I supposed to do with it? He's supposed to be here. He should be here.
Well, he will
next
be.
Year.
He should be here next year.
Yes,
that's absolutely true. Like, if I could take away the how many NHL games has he played actually at this point? Is it 30? Is it less than that? 4? I don't even know.
It's not that many. I mean, it was 7 his first season, and how many last year was it? 2?
This past year, I thought it was a few more than that.
Okay, and then he got hurt the year before, and they played him through it.
He's played 39 games in his
39.
career. 9 this year, 23 the year before, and 7 the year before that.
23.
Yeah, I mean, they began the year.
That's right.
Did he play the first 5?
Yeah,
he was the starter.
They leaned hard, yeah.
And they got hurt. So, if I could take away all those NHL games that he's already played so far, and I just evaluate the steps of development for a young goalie that was a top prospect, I have him dominating every step of the way, which would imply to you that eventually he's going to get to that in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
That's not every time is that how it happens. I feel like Jack Campbell is a name in my head right now that was a...
Owen, is that a good name?
Jack Campbell's like a great prospect before the NHL, huge expectations, and he became a backup, basically.
Yeah, right. He had a good sort of rocket up the charts as he was a younger guy, and then kind of... He, I think, played a style that was a little more conducive to inconsistent results.
Okay.
Where Levi is a little more technical and play reading, and that should translate a little better. Campbell, to me, always felt a little more athletic and probably a little more inconsistent.
Okay. I have another name for you here that's taken this trek. Is Dustin Wolf the right name?
That is
Calgary.
100% the guy that I think about with Levi every single time I think about Levi.
Because Wolf is a 7th-round pick.
Exactly, and small.
And it took him a couple of years to bake in the oven, and then he's good.
Exactly, and he dominated in the WHL when he was down there, and then he dominated the AHL when he was there, and then they brought him up to the big leagues, and here he is.
And he's
awesome.
He had 18 games 2 years before this year, 18 games, and he had a save percentage in the biggest season he had under 900. So, again, thethere's a lot more than
before getting going this year.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot more than just save percentage. He shows up this year, and he's 910. And, he's a Calder Trophy candidate, right? Like,
he dragged that Calgary team around because they were not, look at that roster. It's not
53 games. Like, what if the Sabres got 9-10 goaltending for 53 games this year on a team that scored the way that they scored?
I'd almost want to say I'd expect them to make the playoffs.
I would.
Yeah, at least
the way
be
they scored
into the race until the last day of the season or 2 days of the season. But they probably,
if I can get the freaking power play to do anything.
Right.
But other than that, I would expect them to make it. That to me is the interesting part of this. He is so good right now, back-to-back shutouts, one of the top goalies in the AHL, and all the hype, that if we're right, that he is, and they're right, that he's going to be like a great number one goalie. Not even just like a starter in the league, but he's going to eventually turn into like one of the 10 best goalies in hockey. What that means to them. What that means to them year to year. Because part of them missing the playoffs all of these years is their inconsistency, right? And a lot of that's goalie, where 1 year you have good goaltending like they had last season, and then the next year, okay, I got to figure out the other stuff, and the goaltending will hold up, right? No, didn't hold up. And that's been true of almost every single goaltender. Actually, really has been true of every single goaltender except for Ullmark, and he got hurt all the time, since Ryan Miller's been their goalie. And if you could tell me that Levi's going to become top 10 goalie and I've got him under contract, then year to year to year, I have this baseline that I'm starting with every single season.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna make the playoffs. I might not make it every year with that. It was Miller, wasn't it? Miller was every year you had a foundation that you were gonna have at least this good of goaltending. And sure, there'd be years where you'd miss the playoffs.
Yep.
Because just the rest of it wasn't good enough, but
I feel like he had
your minimum.
He had one bad year too, but maybe
Miller?
maybe not in that bad. It's probably the floor, like you said.
Right, but your floor, your minimum is if I have a guy like that, then I'm at least going to make the playoffs. Like, what was it with Miller after Breer and Drury left? Two out of 4, 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it a couple times.
And the 2 in between, they were not completely embarrassing. Like they were somewhat competitive.
Almost in. Yeah. Right, so that feels like your floor if Levi gets going. Like, I think the meaning of him developing into what the hype kind of shows is more important than any other player in their organization right now.
Well,
I completely agree. I think, especially in the league the way it is now with the goaltending, it all fluctuates so much. There's not a lot of guys that are going to be consistently 9-10 goalies like we talk about here. And if you can find that gem and you can get it locked in, and that's a consistent part of your team build, that gives you a leg up on, 75% of the league in terms of having the stability increase to then build out and know, all right, we know we can absolutely get 9 out of 10 shots saved a game. That frees up everybody else on the roster to do what they need to do, whether it's the offensive defenseman for the Sabres. I mean, you've got a lot of guys that want to do more on the offensive side of the puck, and I think some of that is stifled by we don't know what we've got in the blue paint right
now. And that's one thing where the Sabres have spent a lot of this offseason saying, like, well, we didn't play too well in front of him. They had the lowest high danger save percentage in the NHL.
Yeah.
You could say you didn't do a good enough job in front of him. You could also say whenever it broke down, it went in the net.
Right.
Like, worst in the NHL.
Exactly. And you need those numbers, those high danger save numbers for guys. It's not always a fair indicator of what's going on because you've got situations and they develop differently, and not all high danger chances are created equal. I'll tell you that. Like, some chances in that bubble, even though they're supposedly high danger, are not created the same as the others.
Yeah.
And so there were definitely times this season with the Sabres where they were putting a lot on UPL and Reimer, but there were also times where you, as a player, as a skater, look back and go, we need a save here, and they almost never got that. Mm-hmm. And you need that in crucial points of the season. It's more about those key points. You zoom in on one game, Colorado, right? The 4-0 blow. You need a goalie to make one of those stops and just stop the bleeding. And think about how much one save there could have changed the course of the rest of that season. Like, I don't want to get too micro on that.
Right.
But
yeah.
That's the reality of the position is the butterfly effect from you outwards is much greater than any other player has from their own position. You can dictate far more what happens in those games and where things go based on confidence and, obviously scores of games. It changes everything.
Isn't he much more likely to be one of their 2 goalies next year than Luukkonen is?
No.
Like, there's trade stuff about Luukkonen.
Yeah,
Friedman had that.
Really? That they're gonna?
Friedman said that they were going to be that he was available and that they were looking for maybe a swap. Like to me, what would if Kevin Adams is going to remain as the general manager? And at this point, I believe he is. I mean, there's no announcement on that, but there's no announcement that he isn't.
Right.
So
I'm not sure there'll be an announcement of anything.
Right. So we're just going to keep going as though he's the general manager. What are the last 2 big trades he's made, and what are the types of trades he's been talking about now for 20 months?
He's been making swaps and hockey trades. It's Byram for Middlestat.
Yep.
It's McLeod for Savoy. It's Cousins for Josh Norris.
Yeah. He's making trades out of his core for the same position. Right. Well, not in the Middlestat Byram trade swap, but if I've got Friedman talking about Luukkonen, and I mean even Adams, he gave you the token answer when he was asked about it at the presser. Like he wasn't as when he got asked about Luukkonen, he did in the goaltending. He did say he would look to make the team better. He opened that door at least a creak. He didn't just say no. Luukkonen and Levi are our goalies next year, and he could have, but he didn't. And Friedman's talked about it, so would that be his big idea for the summer? He's got to have one, right? He's going to be under pressure, and this team's got to make the playoffs. You've already made your center swap. You're not trading Dahlin or Thompson, so pick a guy from your core and go make another hockey trade. And to me, the guy you would do that with is absolutely Luukkonen. And I've already got a teensy bit of smoke that already kind of implies that is maybe where he's headed.
He has had a good season in the NHL, so the Sabres might be afraid of getting rid of that because, again, like they have to shop in bargain bins or trades, right? You're going to trade for somebody else's goalie that has had a rough time that is also $5 million. Like, how's that going to work? Are they going to eat salary in this potential Luukkonen trade? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, he's on the roster, and the idea of somebody taking his salary and term on his contract to me sounds unlikely. But if Friedman says it's there, then I've got reason to trust that.
Yeah, I think it's tough. Like, I think it's warranted to think we want to move off of that and try something new there. But I think it's like systematically in the league a tough trade to make. And like you're not going to find a lot of teams that are looking to make that bet on a guy. Like the teams that come to mind for me are like Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like Demko's always hurt. Do they want to take a shot on a guy? They're kind of in a middle ground. Like
that's the Norris trade, isn't it? Right. That is, you've got a young guy who's looked good 1 year and has promise, and I'm going to swap him for another guy who's definitely better, but I've got a big injury concern to look at.
Exactly, and I don't know that the Sabres want to take two of those risks going into this year. That seems scary to me.
How many times am I going to forget Josh Norris exists?
You're going to their highest paid forward, yes, and probably their number one center on paper going into next year.
I'm going to forget about him 100 times. They traded Cousins. Who'd they get? Right.
Jacob Bernard-Docker?
Right. Norris, who never played, which is unfortunate because that could have been a nice little boost for the Sabres, like pushing next year about what they have and why people should believe in them.
For context on the Friedman thing, by the way, it wasn't like the strongest, quote ever. He said, there are teams, this was on April 19th, there are teams who believe that Luukkonen could be available. Whispers around the league that teams that are looking for goaltenders, that he may be the guy who could be out there.
All right. Well, good luck to Kevin Adams on that one. We'll see. Again, if he's the one making the decisions. Our phone number is 803-0550. We expect that to be the case. 1-888-552-550, the Emirates Advance. And Devon Levi, again, is spectacular for them. Another shutout. They swept Syracuse. They go on to the next round. In the NHL playoffs, we don't really have any sort of keep an eye on this guy because he's going to win the cup and embarrass the Sabres, right? Like Cousins just got eliminated last night.
Yep.
No Cousins. You've got Toronto, Florida, which means half of Florida's roster again. Maybe not half. But
a lot of those guys are gone now, aren't they?
Right. It's Reinhart.
Montour's gone,
it's
and Poso's gone, and Reinhart, and then Rodriguez is still there.
Right. Reinhart, basically. But Washington, Carolina, nothing really there. You've got Eichel again. Eichel v. Skinner, if you want that.
Yeah. Although Skinner, wasn't playing every game.
He's not a big contributor for Edmonton.
No. He got his streak broken. He made the playoffs. He played a playoff game.
Now he's out of the conference semifinals.
I think he played game one, and that was it.
There you go.
So he only played game one.
Wait, is this like...
He had an assist, by the way.
Was this a ceremonial, let him play game one, and now he's out for the rest of the playoffs?
Ooh, that would be tough.
Was there a ceremonial, Jeff Skinner's never made the playoffs, and they gave him the opening face-off, and then just put him on the bench?
Oh, man.
How many...
I think they might have.
Really? That might be it.
I mean, he had a point. Yeah. He had an assist in the game. Listen, if that's the only playoff game he ever plays, playoff game, 1 point. I mean, he might want to retire.
I mean, he had a point and they took him out.
He's like, I'm going to go out on top here.
I think he was a -3, I saw. Or maybe it was
-2.
Okay.
I think he was on the ice for all 3 goals, but he didn't get a minus.
That might be right. I mean, how much of that is on him and Stu Skinner?
Not that this guy is the same thing, but I think he also lost his spot to Evander Kane, who returned after not playing all season from injury.
Gotcha.
That might be part of the reason why, and he's probably more built for playoff-style hockey. It would be Eichel, though, wouldn't it? Eichel winning a second time?
Sure.
Is the only, because everything he would win... the embarrassment of you traded away your best player and he won without you. If it's now, he's won 2 without you.
Sure.
And then if he's won 3 without you, it'll depend how many he wins. But
isn't that whole thing over, though?
I think so for the most part.
It's over.
I'm saying it could get fired up again if he wins again.
I guess.
Or if he goes to the finals.
I have almost never felt that. Like, the year and the comments he made when he came back, I was hot. But after that, like, you're in Vegas. Go beat Jack Eichel in Vegas.
All it would be is just more evidence that you know, the plan out of the gates with him was you got to have a center that good to be able to win the Stanley Cup, and more evidence that, oh yeah, he was always good enough to win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
You got to have a great team, but he was good enough to be the best player on a cup-winning team.
The only thing that could be different is we're watching the handshake line here. He scored last night on a breakaway, Eichel did. A big goal on the road in Minnesota. The only thing that could be different is if they win another one and he wins the Conn Smythe this time, which...
Because Marchessault won it last time.
Yeah, I mean, Eichel had a good claim to it, but Marchessault did win it.
Yeah.
And then you'd have, O'Reilly and Eichel both winning it. But again, like I do think you've still got your fans that are going to want to go and boo him when they come to the building, and that's fine. That makes total sense. But the idea that it's salt in the wounds, like you're talking about salt in the wounds of the nerve endings are already dead. It's just like whatever. Who cares? I've got my own front porch to clean up over here. So I'm going to mix a lot of metaphors here, but I'm not going to. I never worried about it. It never hurt me, the idea that he was going to win there. I fully expected him to go there and be successful. You wanted the Sabres to come out of it even, looking good, going in the right direction, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But they're on to the next round, and Edmonton-Vegas is a heck of a series.
Yeah.
I guess my only thing would be, who coached Team USA, by the way, in the Four Nations again? Help me remember.
I know Bill Guerin was the GM.
Cooper and Sullivan.
Okay.
That might be right.
Because the U.S. lost when they stopped matching Eichel against McDavid in that game.
Sullivan was the coach.
Yeah, because Eichel was against him for a good chunk of it, and then Matthews started to draw because Matthews, he's great too. And, they lost that tournament.
The staff was Mike Sullivan, John Tortorella, John Hines, and David Quinn.
All right.
I don't know where I grabbed John Cooper from. That's Canada.
Canada was the...
Yep.
Yeah.
803-0550. Carl in Minnesota. We got a call on Devon Levi. Let's go for it. Hey, Carl.
Hey, good morning, guys. I just wanted to weigh in on what I feel is like the mishandling of Devon Levi so far at the NHL level. At least he came in at the end of the season that he left college and played great because he was in game shape. He had played a whole season. The next year, Granato started the year with him. I think he played 4 games in 6 days, and they got him injured. And Granato said after the last game, he said he wanted him to feel the grind. What grind is there at the beginning of the year? I don't get that. And this year, I thought he was set up to fail with just the spot starts. So he gets a lot of criticism for his NHL record, and I think he's been a lot better.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Carl. Isn't Levi one of the things that whenever we talk to Paul about what the Sabres have done the last couple of years, they put guys in roles they're not ready for, and they don't have enough of a veteran presence, and that started to turn a little bit here with your Zuckers and Greenways and the guys of that caliber, and that what Levi needed was just a little bit of time. They put him in that one season when they're trying to make the playoffs because it was working. Like, ride him into the ground. It's the end of the season. He's in form. Let's go. And then after that, it was trying to recapture that lightning in a bottle, and then that never came back, and they were pushing it too hard.
Yeah, I think they were going off of what they saw at the end of his first year, where he came in and was, the push that they needed to try and make a run. And I don't think I agree with the game shape point like that. Levi, knowing what I know about him, I know a couple of people that speak very highly of him. He works way too hard to ever be out of shape, to not be able to play 4 games in 6 days. I think any really solid goaltending prospect would want that and welcome that. But I think that they were, exactly, trying to catch that lightning in the bottle because they saw it the year before. And you can't really try and do that with him because he was too young. He had come off a great season at Northeastern, and you've got all that momentum that can make up for a lot of sort of inefficiencies or shortcomings of your preparation in the NHL. If you're sort of ramped up at that level, you can make up for the lack of experience, but that doesn't last through a whole summer into the next season. Like, you can come in and feel great, feel ready, but you need to let him cook in the AHL like they did this year.
Yeah.
Listen, a lot of that was it is kind of amazing looking back that, one, he was able to get into the net in the first place, right? They were pushing for the playoffs. There were only 7 games left, and the kid that had just played college hockey the week before
was their best option.
Was like, we got to put him in. This is where we're at. And then the next year, to have him be the plan as the number 1 goalie, listen, off those 7 games, it was a little bit more defendable, but it was always a long shot. I think that him at that age and that experience was going to be able to play. But I mean, what? I wonder what in their perfect world they were hoping for going into not this past season, the year prior.
Him to
play 50 games,
to be 40, to be one of the very, very rare guys to show up and be that young and be good.
Right, and that was a lot to ask. And I've pointed out his numbers weren't as bad that season as you think they were. At Evolving Hockey, his goals saved above expected, like per 60 or whatever, he was 20th out of 72 goalies.
Yeah, and they've lived a lot lower than that.
This past year, he was definitely bad, but the year prior, he wasn't as bad as you think.
803-0550. We're not going to spend the whole day on the Amerks and Devon Levi, but they did win last night. He had a shutout, and the Amerks are on to the next round.